Trapped in tight, Betty, V8, symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. As we get ready to rock and roll, we get ready to set these drivers loose as it is the Premium Stock Car Racing League back in action here this afternoon from Talladega Super Speedway. It is time to get it on like Donkey Kong. As each and every one of these drivers, they are going to be battling. They're going to be duking it out here this evening in what is going to be a very interesting race, knowing that this is the final regular season point race. This is the last opportunity for drivers to punch their tickets into the playoffs. For some drivers, they're looking good. They're looking safe either with wins or with points. But for other drivers that are potentially on the outside looking in, they know this is their last opportunity to maybe get the points they need to advance into the playoffs or to get that win and put themselves into the show here this afternoon. As Michael Ponder Jr. says, Talladega, baby. Woo! Let's go, baby. My boy Cryptic coming in, showing the love as well as these drivers there. And on the racetrack, just getting done their practice session. They're going to get ready to roll out onto the speedway here for some qualifying in just a few more minutes. And as you see, all these drivers sporting some, most of them sporting some different paint schemes here this afternoon, as tonight is the movie night. So we're going to see a lot of different drivers running some different paint schemes. As you do see this number 2 ride, he's in, I do believe, the Days of Thunder style of a race car right there behind him. That is the Ricky Bobby Wonder Bread number 5 right back there, right behind him. And we see so many movie paint schemes here. You see the Hardee's number 18 ride right there. That is Noah Blackwell. Beautiful paint scheme there for him, and so many other drivers sporting some different and amazing paint schemes here this afternoon. As we'll go through some of them. Hopefully we can see a list or something of some of these. As you see the Dark Knight Rises Mountain Dew number 8 ride there of Nathan Brookover, and all these drivers, man, they are ready to rock and roll. He says it's a movie theme night tonight, baby. Yes, Sirski. $80 to win the Dash for Cash as well for the drivers, so some money on the line as well, just to, ramp up that intensity, just to make things even cooler here this evening. As NJB Design says, Russ Wheeler is mine. Russ Wheeler. Okay, what movie is that from? What movie is that from, Noah? I'm gonna need some help on some of these ones. Some of these movie paint schemes, man, I may need a little help on, man. There's some of them that I clearly don't know. As Jimmy Six Times says, Farrell Robbins, Michael Durham Jr. in Jordan Hand, Dash for Cash Talladega, $80 Rollin Wieners, $10 for some of these drivers, and other drivers just ready to, they're ready to rock and roll, man. They're ready to try to put in the work and seeing if they can put in the win. It's from Days of Thunder? Oh, okay. Is that the bad guy, theoretically, of Days of Thunder? I can't remember. I only remember really that, mainly the Days of Thunder paint scheme from Tom Cruise's ride, but I do believe that's the bad guy, right? That's the guy that he's trying to fight on or trying to beat. On vacation, glad to be watching. What's good, Aaron? What's good, Mr. Robinson? Sucks to not see you out there on the racetrack, brother, but glad to see you up here in the chat. Cheering these drivers on. Is qualifying underway? Cat sliding out there onto the speedways. We do see this beautiful Ponder Jr. number 13 ride, that motocraft machine, sliding out there onto the racetrack. Dylan Carrier in his always beautiful Phoenix Esports number 31. He's out there onto the racetrack. Here comes Matthew Wood. Now, I'm not sure what this paint scheme is for, but we do see the Racers for Christ number 16 machine. New looking paint scheme, looking fresh out there. As Jimmy Six Times says, tonight's playoff scenarios. Yeah, there's a couple different playoff scenarios here. There's a couple drivers that I know can win their way in, but there's also some drivers that I do believe it's top 16 that advance into that first round of the playoffs. And I do believe Ryan Haller is currently in that 16th position. He's about 3 points back, but not too much. That's not a movie scheme. Dylan, I know, Dylan doesn't have a movie scheme. There's a few drivers that don't have them out there. Some of them electing to go with their regular paint schemes and not with a movie scheme, which is okay. It's fine. They don't need to. They don't have to, as we do see that beautiful Aaron's 0-0 ride out there onto the racetrack. That's Michael Durham Jr. He's getting his lap in right there. Currently sits in third as Landon Burbage in that powerhouse number 2 ride jumps into the top spot. Ryan Haller out there in the beautiful Old Spice. Now that is a beautiful Cal Norton Jr. throwback paint scheme right there, as that is the movie Talladega Nights, another Ricky Bobby one. We always love Cal Norton Jr. There's no shake and bake without Cal out there on the speedway. Playoff bubble drivers, only 12 make it. Okay, only 12 make it. Oh, that's interesting. Top 10 in points plus Joshua Crider and Farrell Robbins. Okay, all right. I like it. I like it. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Top 10 in points plus those two. All right. Well, that's going to make things very, very interesting here. That's definitely going to make things a little bit tougher for some of these other drivers. But I do believe if you win, you're still in. So is there drivers that could potentially win? Like if we look back at Ryan Haller or some of these drivers that are probably on the outside of the playoff bubble looking in here, there's got to be a couple. William Connolly, Ryan Haller, Michael Durham Jr. potentially. We look back at, Jonathan Gaston, some of these drivers that could potentially win their way into the playoffs here tonight, as that's what's always kind of in the back of our minds whenever we come to these plate races, as they're really just a plain Jane. It really balances things out, as points bubble drivers are okay. Well, let's take a look here. The points bubble drivers, Jimmy Six Times, he's got all the info for us. He's got everything hooked up here this afternoon. It says Gaston, Gleason, and Mickelson all kind of right there in that picture for potentially being raced in. Me and Landon are both first out now. What? I'm in the villain. I'm the villain in the movie, and he is the hero, I guess. Okay. I get you. Yep, I see that. Everyone else must win. Okay, everyone else must win. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very, very interesting for a lot of these drivers, and just trying to figure out where they're going to line up, where they're going to stack up, and what they could potentially do to potentially either race their way in, or to potentially try to hang on to those points and keep yourself in that picture for the points for the playoffs, for making it into the playoffs is going to be very, very wild. That's not currently locked in. Okay, everyone else must win. That's not currently locked in. Okay, perfect. All right, so it's going to make things interesting. It's going to make things very, very fun out there on the Speedway as qualifying quickly coming to a close here, and we'll get ready to rock and roll as Burbage with the quick time here in qualifying. Dylan Carrier, Matthew Wood inside our top 3. Ryan Haller and Jonathan Gaston rounding out our top 5 as we'll get them stacked up. We'll get them racked up, and we'll get ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready to go to battle and set these drivers loose here this afternoon as where is that video? There it is. Alrighty, let's pull this up here real quick.
Thank you very much.
Bear with us, chat. Bear with us. We're going to get this open. Unfortunately, SDK doesn't allow us just to pull this in anymore and just play it without having to do this. But here's Lonnie Crider. Crider is going to give us the opening command here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Lonnie.
Thank you very much. Looking for some more great, excited race tonight. And I know it's going to be exciting because we're at Talladega. So make sure you look over your shoulder twice before you make a move. Because if you make the wrong move, you're going to wind up in that guardrail somewhere. Maybe not a guardrail, but a concrete wall. So gentlemen, start your engines and let's go racing and let's have a good time tonight.
Alrighty, yes sir, Lonnie Crider coming in, giving us that opening command here for drivers to fire up their engines and get ready to rumble here from Talladega Superspeedway. As we'll get them all locked in and ready to roll out there on the Speedway. We do see a couple extra drivers here this afternoon battling and racing this afternoon, as you do see the Ricky Bobby Talladega Knights paint schemes on both the 6 of Brian Underwood and the 5 ride of Josh Crider. I thought Josh said that his season was potentially going to be over, but we do see him out there on the racetrack, so that is good to see. I was really, really sad not to potentially not see him competing and battling out there, so good to see him out there on the racetrack, and hopefully he's with us all night long and can get himself a solid run and great finish here this evening. But out in front, starting in the pole position, it is the powerhouse Princess Towing number 2 machine of Landon Burbage. To his outside in the Phoenix Esports number 31 machine, that is Dylan Carrier, and starting in 3rd in the 16 ride, that is Matthew Wood. To his outside in the Cal Norton Jr. Old Spikes number 99 ride, that is Ryan Haller, starting there in 4th. To the inside of row number 5, it is the 72 ride. It's the Chicken Pit Machine, the 72 ride. That is the fastest chicken in the South. That is Jonathan Gaston, who will start in that 5th position. To his outside, that is Grant Applegate. Then we see Jordan Hand in the 00, Michael Durham Jr. Danny White there in 8th, as we do see Farrell Robbins in the 76, in the 20 of Aiden Lucas. Now, I'm not sure what paint scheme this is from or what movie this paint scheme is from, but nonetheless, beautiful looking ride there for the leakless number 20 of Aiden Lucas, rounding out our top 10 here this afternoon. Michael Potter Jr. in the 25 of William Connolly back there in 11th and 12th, as we do see that Hardy's number 18 ride, Noah Blackwell. Blackwell will start there in 13th. To his outside is that Wonder Bread, that Ricky Bobby paint scheme, that number 6 of Brian Underwood. Scott Healy in the Coca-Cola X number 777 ride. Healy will start back there in that 15th position, as then we see the 66 of Ben Gleason, the 5 ride of Josh Crider. Then we see Evan Stewart, Melvin Branguer back there in 19th. Nathan Brookover there in 20th in his beautiful Dark Knight Rises Mountain Dew. National Guard number 8 ride back there rounding at our top 20 and going to the rear of the field here, having to take an EOL to start this afternoon. It is 21 drivers getting ready to go to battle, getting ready to duke it out here in this one, as yes, Josh, we know, brother, I've already seen it, but for the ladies and gentlemen up in the grandstands here this afternoon, normally we see him in a SpongeBob costume, but here tonight we see him dressed up here a little bit this afternoon. Let's see if we can get a good look here at Josh Crider as we get ready to go to battle. We get ready to duke it out here this evening. Let's get a good look in here, as there he is, Ricky Bobby himself behind the wheel of that number 5 ride, getting ready to go to battle, getting ready to duke it out here in this one, as each and every one of these competitors are ready to rumble, ready to go to battle here at Talladega Superspeedway, as we end all the anticipation with our feet feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here at Talladega. It is that to Atlanta Burbage down low, quickly get a good shot from the 16 of Matthew Wood. Wood, unfortunately, not a competitor here for the points this year, but he is out there having some fun. We've seen him picked up the win in our All-Star race, and he's been our pace car driver. But here tonight, getting allowed back in and being able to race and compete here for this evening, and obviously quickly getting lined up right there with his teammate on the back bumper of Landon Burbage. They're going to be looking to work together each and every single lap here this afternoon, and for all these other drivers, they're going to have to try to figure out a way to beat them here this afternoon as Ryan Haller rolls that outside lane, but down in through the tri-oval here at Talladega Super Speedway as this start-finish line is not through the middle of that tri-oval. It's all the way right there, almost halfway down that little straightaway into corner number 1. It's a completely different racetrack, a little bit bigger than Daytona International Speedway. Banking is the biggest as well here in NASCAR, so it's got a little bit bigger of a racetrack, a little bit more banking, and the action is non-stop here at Talladega Super Speedway. As Landon Burbage leads that first lap, he leads us again back down the back straightaway as we start to see them go a little bit 3 wide here. Ryan Haller unfortunately sliding backwards. Now a little contact. Look at Michael Durham Jr. gonna go around. Durham Jr. goes around right there. Contact between him and that number 18 machine. Let's play this back and take another look at it as unfortunately he's just gonna kind of get shoved into the middle, and the 18 just sends it in there, and unfortunately just comes in with a big head of steam. Now I'm not sure if the 00 is kind of rolling out of the throttle right there or what may have happened, but unfortunately the 18 kind of comes up the track. A little neck coat helping him. I think they were going to make contact no matter what, but unfortunately that gets the 00 bent out of shape, then sends him up the racetrack. Hard contact into the side of the number 99 ride. So the 00, the 99 both getting some pretty heavy damage, and it's a bad time here in our second lap to be in an even number, but also a double number as the 00, the 99, and here you go, the 66. Nowhere to go out there on the racetrack. Heavy damage for all 3 of those competitors. A little damage there as well for that number 18 ride. And Noah Blackwell also getting some pretty good damage there as Durham Jr., Ben Gleason both taking their rides down pit side. Luckily enough there for Melvin Brangruer. Brangruer able to get that car checked up and out of any of that contact, out of any of that car, to see if we can jump on board. As you see that 00 already sideways, as you'll see that contact right there, as there's the contact. 00 gets bent out of shape, goes up into the 99. Him and Ben Gleason come together, and luckily enough Melvin able to get onto the binders and avoid contact a couple times here with that 00 ride as he comes to a stop down the bottom side of corner number 3 and 4. So a early caution flag here. Now that's really going to mix things up here for these drivers, as now they've got to figure out a game plan. They got to figure out what they need to do, where they need to be, and how they need to tackle this race in this surface, and what they need to put themselves into a position for, whether it's fuel mileage, whether it's tires, or whether or not it's just trying to play it safe here early on in this race. Says my boy Robbie Tester. What's good, Tester? Tester coming in says it's Dega Baby. Yes, Sirski, it is Dega weekend here on Peacemaker Gaming. Lots of Talladega racing action, whether it's the real life racing or if it's a little bit more of just fall all out, just battling in the simulator here this afternoon. As Cryptic says, my friend said you're quiet, Aaron. I'm quiet. What? Ain't no way I'm quiet. Ain't no way, baby. Ain't no way I'm quiet. They may just have to turn me up. They just gotta turn me up, baby. That's all they gotta do. Ain't no way I'm quiet. And who's your friend? Who's your friend? They're lying. They're lying to you, brother. As here we go. We'll get them stacked up. We'll get them wrecked up. And we'll get ready to rumble here once again this afternoon. We'll get ready to put these drivers back onto the edge of their seats and ready to roll and try to keep themselves out of trouble here for maybe a couple good laps out there on the speedway. It's going to be an interesting one, as not only do these drivers have to worry about the fuel mileage, worry about those tires in the stage brakes, but they also got to worry about that end of the race. That is the part you really need to be at. You can win it from deep in the field if you're there at the end, if you got a car to compete, if you can keep on battling, then while people trying to win on lap 2, unfortunate contact there, unfortunate contact, and yeah, unfortunately you can't win it on lap number 2. You can only win it on that final lap, and that's the lap we're talking about, man. And it's bold strategies here at Talladega. We'll see it, we saw it today in the Xfinity ranks. We'll see it tomorrow in the Cup Series race here at Talladega Super Speedway. When we see these NASCAR drivers go to battle, there's a couple different game plans. Either trying to stay out in front, trying to keep yourself at the front of the field where you can hopefully avoid any of the carnage. Hopefully it's all back there behind you, but there's going to be other drivers that are going to hang back. They're going to lay back. They're going to allow everyone else to battle and duke it out and do whatever they need to do up there at the front of the field and potentially cause carnage where they can be far enough back that they can get onto the binders like we just saw out of that 89 ride. They got enough time to get checked up and make moves and be able to avoid any of the carnage that unfolds in front of them. So you can kind of lay back, you can take it easy here for that first 80 laps of this race virtually, and then go hard on those final 8 laps. Race your way back up towards the front of the field. You can make some moves, you can find some dancing partners, and you can work yourself to the front in a quick hurry. We've seen it in real life. We've seen it here in the simulator. It sometimes takes a lap or 2. Sometimes it doesn't take very long at all, and you can navigate your way back up to the front and into contention for a win here at these super speedways in a quick hurry. So it's all about survival, keeping your car clean, keeping yourself out of trouble, and being there at the end to try and pick up the dub here this evening, and especially on movie night, and especially knowing that we are going to have a little bit of money on the line here as well. For some drivers, playoffs on the line. Other drivers, potentially a little bit of cash in their pocket here as the Rollin Wieners dash for cash here this afternoon. I do believe it is up to $80 to go to our Rollin Wieners Dash for Cash winner. So the highest finishing driver of the drivers that were named earlier with Josh Crider and Nathan Brookover, Jonathan Gaston, Brian Underwood, Jordan Crider, Landon Burbidge, Grant Applegate, Michael Ponder Jr., Dylan Carrier, Farrell Robbins, Michael Durham Jr., and Jordan Hand. Virtually all of our field here except for the odd couple that aren't a part of that Dash for Cash. So you know that there's money on the line. You know that there's points in playoffs on the line, and you can play spoiler to a lot of drivers' plans here this evening if you can park yourself up and into victory lane. And so here we go, stacked up 2x2x2, the pace car back down pit road, and here we go, back to green flag racing here at Talladega Super Speedway as the green flag quickly back out into the air for that number 2 machine as that 2 ride quickly back onto the loud pedal. Landon Burbidge slides right down the racetrack in front of his teammate Matthew Wood. They'll get lined up looking to start to push and shove down through corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of help for the back bumper there of Danny White. White unfortunately going to slide back here into that 3rd position, waiting for that 11 right at Jordan Hand to get to his back bumper. Hand finally gets there, starting to give him a little bit of a pump here, trying to get that outside lane moving as the Old Dogs Racing rides starting to get lined up there a little bit. You do see the 79 of Danny White, the 76 of Farrell Robbins. They're right there. They love to get lined up together, and when you add in their teammate down on the inside there, that chicken pit ride, the 72. Now, I'm not sure what movie that is from, but if you guys can let me know, what is the chicken pit 72 ride from? What is it from? I know there's a movie for it. Look out, more contact. Around goes that chicken pit ride up and into the outside fence, and the fastest chicken in the race unfortunately just got chicken littled up into the outside fence right there. Heavy hit there for this number 72 as there's contact here as the number 18 ride running into some more issues out there on the speedway. Unfortunately, Noah Blackwell, he's been all around it here early on in this race, and unfortunately right there. Now, I'm not sure. Let's take a look here. Does he come down the track? Does he come up the track? What was the move here out of this 18 ride? Is he just trying to decipher which lane to really roll into here, and unfortunately leaves the middle open? This 777 ride sees that, stays down low, and then you see the 18. He's trying to come back down. Unfortunately comes down across the nose of that 777 ride of Scott Healy. Nowhere to go for Gaston as he gets pumped right up into the outside fence. Brian Underwood, heavy damage into that one as you see the 72 climb right up and around and over top of him there as the 18th still sideways. Sky Healy, Michael Potter Jr., they got nowhere to go as Blackwell comes up the track, hard contact into that outside fence. A lot of damage, a lot of carnage right there early on in this race, and already a bunch of drivers probably going to be fairly upset, fairly, unhappy about how things have kind of played out here in the opening couple laps, as unfortunately for that 72, going for an absolutely wild ride right there. Tons of damage there for him, tons of damage for some of these other drivers that just all of a sudden had nowhere to go out there on the speedway and end up with a ton of tore up sheet metal out there on the racetrack. Is, man, such a heavy hit there for a lot of these drivers. A lot of these cats just getting absolutely tore up right there. Heavy damage for Underwood, heavy damage for the 18 of Blackwell. So 72 right at Gaston, just minding his own P's and Q's down low right here, just trying to keep himself in line. He's third car in line on the inside, battling just inside the top 5, and all of a sudden for Gaston, he's going to see this race go from, pretty good to all of a sudden really bad in a quick hurry as down low. Here comes the contact right about here. Does not expecting it. Bam, gets turned right up into that corner 1 fence, and man, that's a big hit right there, man. That is wild. Aaron Robinson says, boy, I'm glad I'm not running, he says. Yeah, that's for certain. As you do see some damage there as well on that 37 ride. Unfortunately here for Evan Stewart, it looks like as everyone else starting to check up, he's trying to get his car checked up, ends up going right underneath, checking that rear end fluid on the 8 ride. A Nathan Brookover, heavy rear end damage there for Brookover, heavy front end damage here for that 37 of Evan Stewart, as well as that's what happens, man. Sometimes you're, in the best position. Sometimes you're in the worst position. Unfortunately for this AG's Design 37 ride, the Sim Racing Center machine just could not get checked up quick enough. Heavy damage there for him. Heavy damage for the 8 ride, and more contact there as the 5 of Jordan Crider couldn't get checked up there quickly enough either, and looks like, Josh Crider in this Wonder Bread number 5 right, says Crider is back, and here he is trying to avoid it, goes up the racetrack to try to avoid it. Unfortunately could not get checked up, ends up slamming into the back end of that 37 as well, and heavy front end damage there for him as, boy oh boy, I do love Fig Newtons, as Ricky Bobby would say, but boy, this is dangerous, as he can't see a dang thing out of this thing right there. He can't see a thing out of this, as, man, that's a tough break right there for Crider, as he's just trying to slide through it, just trying to keep himself out of it. All of a sudden, he needs a little help from Oprah and Tom Cruise, and maybe a little help from Jesus as well, as, man, that's a tough hit right there, and now has that hood up, and gonna have to see if he can try to navigate or get some help all the way back around to pit lane. Let's see if we can get another look at this one, another angle at it, as Cryptic says he's got a good angle at this one. Dylan Carrier's right there. He's behind the 77 ride. Sees that initial contact, sees the 72 going up in the air, sees all this contact. Luckily enough, able to get onto the binders there, avoid any damage there for himself, and keeps that Phoenix Esports ride pointed in the right direction. No contact, no carnage there for him, and he'll keep on battling, as we do see the beautiful number 72, the chicken pit ride down pit road here, and trying to get that thing fixed up and hoping to get back out onto the racetrack. We see Brent Brewer back down pit road. He's getting some extra, repairs done to this next level racing Supra out there on the speedway. Josh Crider, he's gotten his car somewhat fixed up. Still some pretty heavy front end damage here. That hood, luckily enough, is down now. You can see again out of the windshield here, and Ryan Haller back out there. Unfortunately for Haller, I do believe he has scored at least maybe a couple laps down out there on the racetrack. Same with Nathan Brookover in that Dark Knight Rises number 8 machine, that Mountain Dew ride, as he's got Batman riding on board with him here tonight. Unfortunately, Batman must be busy on this Saturday afternoon and protecting Gotham City, and not protecting that 8 ride out there on the speedways. He's gotten tied up in a couple of those incidences, and now he finds himself a lap or 2 down, as well as, here we go, getting them stacked up, getting them racked up, and getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, getting ready to duke it out here again in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in and you haven't done it already, please make sure you guys help us out here right now. It just takes a quick second. It's absolutely free to do. video and helps us out a ton here on the broadcast. Hit that mother fluffing like button right now. Hit that like button for us right now on the broadcast. Hit that share button. Hit that follow and subscribe button. Become a brand new member of the Peacemaker family here this afternoon. And a huge shout out to my boy, Bubba. Let's go, Bubba. Bubba coming in, showing the love as well. Says, my fave track, Stroker Ace. Maybe a little Burt Reynolds. Is that what that's from? Stroker Ace? Little Burt Reynolds movie. That's before my time. Maybe I'm too young for that one. And Bubba coming in as well with the resubscription over there on Twitch as well. Coming back in, subscribing again here this afternoon. He's been a subscriber here now for 22 mother fluffing months, man. That's absolutely insane. 22 mother fluffing months, almost 2 years of being a part of the Peacemaker sub club. That is absolutely insane. And it's from Chicken Pit. It's from Chicken Pit. That's the movie, and I'm assuming Burt Reynolds' name in that was Stroker Ace. Okay. Oh shit, I just showed my age, he says. You definitely did. You definitely did. I might have to check it out. I'm off tomorrow, so maybe tonight I'll stay up a little bit late after the broadcast, and maybe I'll watch it. I love Burt Reynolds, man. I'm actually amazed that I haven't seen the movie. I'm sure if I watch it, I'll probably remember it, but it's probably just been so long since I have seen that movie. Out in front, it's Danny White. Danny White was able to take that race lead away before that caution flag was thrown, and now he leads the way with Dylan Carrier right there on his back bumper. Carrier in position number 2 as you see Matthew Wood and Landon Burbage. They're lined up there trying to help each other at the front of the field here in the outside lane as Jordan Hand in that Premier Racing Setups NJP Designs number 11 ride rolls there in position number 5. Now he's got the 76, the Old Dogs Racing 76 ride of Farrell Robbins right there in position number 5 on the racetrack now as he battles door-to-door with that 11 machine. Now we saw Farrell Robbins pick up the win in our first race of the season. Now that was 9 races ago. It was a long time ago, and for that 76 ride, he was able to find victory lane at Daytona International Speedway, one of our other super speedways here in the schedule, and he's looking to try to make it 2 for 2 on the super speedways here this afternoon. Would love to get another win going into our playoffs, giving him those extra bonus points and getting ready to duke it out there in that one. As Bubba says, 1983, I was 12. Wow, listen, that's 11 years before I was born, Bubba. That was 11 years before I was even born. 1983, my gosh. That seems like it was forever ago. And listen, I'm huge on older movies. I love older movies, man. And in 1983, like that whole little era there, I want to say like 82, 83, 84, maybe even 85, man. There were so many good movies that were made. So many cult classics like Porky's Revenge 2. You got Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You got so many great movies that came out in that area, and man, that would have been time to be alive. I mean, it's kind of like now with the Avengers and everything else, and all those movies, man. You gotta love the Marvel movies and everything else. Cannonball Run, another great movie. Yeah, so many good movies that were from that era, man, and so many that people, have never seen or don't know or anything else. So I'm excited to check out the Chicken Pit movie, man. I'm gonna definitely. You just said Porky's, laugh out loud. Yeah, Porky's, brother. Porky's, man. Porky'sBomb.com, man. If you've never watched Porky's, you gotta watch Porky's, man. That was probably like the peak entertainment area right there, honestly. I feel like that was the peak time. As out in front, leading this race now, it is once again the teammates here between the 16 of Matthew Wood and Landon Burbage. Is Burbage using that powerhouse ride to push that 16 ride right to the front of the field. And Dylan Carrier's been moved around here a little bit. He's kind of went from that bump side up to the high side. Now he's got Grant Applegate back there on his back bumper trying to push him towards the front of the field. Is look at a little contact, more contact, around goes the 20 ride. Heavy contact, Farrell Robbins collected. Grant Applegate Applegate, heavy carnage here. Once again, down through the tri-oval and across the start-finish line. A bunch of tore-up race cars once again. Aiden Lucas tore up in this one, man. Look at the 20 right. Heavy black smoke barreling out of that car. Hopefully he is A-OK. Grant Applegate, tons of damage. Farrell Robbins with a bunch of damage there, as well as the 20 is going to have to tow that car right down pit side. Man, what a hit there for him. Look at the damage as that car sits down on pit road as it starts up here towards the front of the field as the 11 ride of Jordan Hand. Hand gets a little bit squirrely here, right here. Just all of a sudden, it looks like the car gets tight, washes up the racetrack. Unfortunately, the 57 rider Grant Applegate was there. They make contact that shoves him up the racetrack, and as he's trying to collect it, he's trying to save this car. Unfortunately, the big run, the pushes, and everything else, not enough time for Danny White to react. Gets into the back end of him, helps him go back down the racetrack and around, and that collects that 20 machine of Aiden Lucas, who slams up into the outside fence. Then, oh man, Michael Durham Jr., the 76 of Farrell Robbins, nowhere to go. Danny White with heavy damage, man. So many more drivers just getting absolutely tore up here on the front straightaway here at Talladega Super Speedway. And so far, as we talked about survival, man, that's exactly what it's been here this afternoon. It has been all about the survival here this evening, as some heavy hits out there, heavy collisions for a lot of these drivers, fenders and hoods and everything else flying all over the place. See that 13 ride of Michael Ponder Jr., he gets into it as well. You see the 6 ride of Underwood just trying to cut down low and trying to get through there. Unfortunately for the 37 of Evan Stewart, he does find a piece of that 20 ride. Gets some pretty good contact there into Aiden Lucas himself, but luckily enough, down low, man, you see that 6 ride of Underwood just able to squeeze through there, man. That's a big move for that number 6 machinist. He definitely did not want to be a part of another one, potentially already using up that fast repair and getting that car fixed up, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of carnage, a lot of mayhem here in front of him. He's just leaning back a little bit, and all of a sudden sees all this action. Luckily enough, just decides to go down far left and almost into the inside fence. Luckily enough, he's able to avoid that wall and avoid all these other drivers as well, as and that was definitely a close call. But more tore up cars down pit road. You see Applegate down there, Michael Durham Jr. trying to get that car repaired. You see Noah Blackwell back down pit side. Josh Crider, he's looking to get some repairs done again to his car. Aiden Lucas now having to get tons of repairs done to his ride, and Jonathan Gass, we do see that chicken pit back out there onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, he is a few laps down as Matthew Wood leads the way here, as Bubba says, watch out for Ball Bricker. Yeah, watch out for Ball Bricker, man. You gotta watch out for her, man. Oh, baby, you gotta look out for him. Or for her. She looks like a dude. As here we go. We're going to get them all stacked up. We'll get them racked up and ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, as, man, definitely some good racing, some great battles out there. Unfortunately, already having some drivers run into some problems here in this one, as NJB Designs his front, right front exploded. The right front exploded for the 18 ride, and that could be unfortunate news here. Noah Blackwell will have to wait and see if he can get back out there, as he was trying to get through here as well. Now, it looks like that right front was A-OK up to this point. Let's see if we can get another angle at it, as he's trying to get through here. He gets a little contact. Oh, yeah, right there. Heavy contact as he ends up getting into the back end of that 79 ride, and unfortunately, that's where we see that right front damage for the 18 ride for that Hard East Toyota. Nowhere for him to go right there, and gets absolutely destroyed, and it's going to get him some serious time down pit road. He's going to probably have to make a couple trips here. Still see that damaged crew trying to go to work, trying to get that car fixed up, and he's just trying to keep himself on the lead lap and in the battle here in this one. Is Brian Carrier. What's good, Brian? Brian coming in, show the love, says, let's go 31. On that 31 right of Dylan Carrier out there on the racetrack right now. There's not a lot of drivers that have really been clean out there on the speedway. There's been quite a few caution flags already, quite a few tore-up race cars for Matthew Wood, Landon Burbage, Dylan Carrier. They're really probably the only 3 drivers that haven't been tore up in any of these events, that haven't had damage of some sorts on their race cars, as Jordan Hand, he's been pretty clean, but he did pretty much much caused that glass caution flag getting up into Grant Applegate. Then we saw Healy getting damage out of that, one of those first cautions. Same with Brian Underwood. Michael Ponder Jr. right there just got a ton of damage. Same with Danny White. William Connolly, he's been pretty clean out there. I haven't seen Connolly get tore up too much out there, but we'll have to keep an eye on that 25 right. Could be one of those other drivers. We did see Branger get a little damage there on that second caution flag down through corner number 1 and 2. We saw Farrell Robbins, Ryan Haller, Ben Gleason, Evan Stewart, Noah Blackwell, Josh Crider, Nathan Brookover, Grant Applegate, Aiden Lucas, Michael Durham Jr., Jonathan Gaston all get some serious damage on their race cars already in this race. And that's pretty much our entire field with damage here and getting contact and having to use those quick repairs early on. And if they run into some more issues, if we see more caution flags, potentially could see more of these drivers all of a sudden having to keep their cars parked down pit road for an extended period of time. They could be down there for a lot of laps, and for a lot of this race could be out of it here in a quick hurry, as we do still have a couple stages left to go here. So stage breaks, extra points for these drivers. We're looking at lap number 24 and lap number 48 for our stage break. So a 24 lap run to start this race, another 24 lap run there for stage number 2, and then 40 laps to finish out this, regular season finale here, as you do see the 16, another good restart, quickly jumps down in front of his teammate there, as that 2 right of Landon Burbage quickly gets to his back bumper. Dylan Carrier kind of left high and dry up there on the high side, as there's not a whole lot of help coming to his back bumper. Carrier may have to try to find a way to get down low or try to find some help here, and he's going to find it as Underwood jumps to his back bumper, and the 11 ride jumps to his right in front of him here, and Jordan Hand, even after that contact, he is not backing down. He is looking to continue to make moves and try to race his way up towards the front of the field here and go after what could be this win. But we do see more issues back here deeper in the field, as we see a couple other drivers tore up and turned around, as that is Ben Gleason. Gleason, unfortunately, running into some more issues here. Let's see if we can take another look at this one, as Gleason's deeper in the field. And it looks like there's contact in some, Michael Ponder Jr. around, and there's the 25 ride. He's tied up in it, and I feel like that's the announcer's curse right there, as we talked about William Connolly potentially not being in any of these ranks and potentially having a pretty clean car out there on the speedway until this caution flag, as I do believe he tries to get down low and underneath this 13 ride. The 13 not staying down on that double yellow line, but couldn't really move down any farther. He's trying to, and open the 25, rolls out of the throttle and gets in line behind him, but just stays right there, and they get tied together, and around goes the 13. They wash up into the 76 right up into the outside fence, and unfortunately there now with some pretty good damage on himself there for that 25 right, and then more damage there for a couple more drivers as Grant Applegate gets tied up in this one again, as well. As let's take a look here at Applegate out there on the racetrack. He's trying to roll this inside lane, trying to avoid this carnage. Ends up getting a little piece of the back end of that 66, and then I do believe he's going to get another piece of him right here, as he slides in there, gets right into the back end of that 66 ride, and that's kind of karma right there. He drove the 66 ride into corner number 1 right here, ended up giving a big shot in the shorts, and unfortunately had him kind of messed up there, and unfortunately, as he does send this 16 ride down the racetrack, right here's the contact. So there he gets a piece of him, ends up kicking him down the racetrack. He goes down onto the apron trying to save that 66 ride. He goes back around and back up the racetrack, and unfortunately, just karma right here for that 57 ride, as he's going to end up getting another piece of him, and now with some pretty extensive front end damage there for that Red Bull 57 ride as well. So more carnage, more tore up race cars, and another caution flag out there on the speedways. Now leading this race, it is the 11 ride of Jordan Hand. Hand going to stay out, does not come down pit road, so he is going to be our race leader here. Dylan Carrier now into second, with Danny White, Melvin Brangruer, Ryan Haller up and into 5th here, as the 77 to Scott Healy. He's back there in 6th. Matthew Wood, Landon Burbage. A lot of these drivers all coming down pit road. William Connolly going down there, getting some repairs to that EFF machine, and he rolls back out there. Evan Stewart, Brian Underwood, coming down pit road right there on lap number 19, as we're only a few laps away from our first stage break already in this one. Stage number 1 just around the corner for these drivers, and early on, a little bit of carnage, a little bit of mayhem here. Do we see these drivers try to get a little bit more cool, calm, and collective? Maybe get a little single file out there and just try to click some laps off, just trying to keep their cars and their dreams alive here this afternoon. Playoffs on the line, and all these opportunities to win some money, to win this race, and earn those bonus points, and maybe lock your way into the playoffs. All on the line here. So these cats, they are right on the edge of their seats. They know they just need to keep it safe, keep themselves clean out there on the speedway, as and Noah says Code Brown. He says Code Brown out there on the racetrack. Definitely a lot of Code Browns for a lot of these drivers here tonight, man. There's been a lot of carnage, a lot of issues, and unfortunately a lot of tore up race cars here. It was a Code Brown moment right here for this number 18 ride. He's trying to get through there, and luckily enough, just able to avoid these guys as they're washing up the racetrack. He's able to just get up high and avoid that Hardy's ride from getting in there a little too low and potentially getting tied up in that one as well. So good piece of driving right there for Blackwell, able to avoid that damage and avoid those spun out drivers, and keeping himself in the battle here this evening as we'll get them ready to rumble. We'll get them stacked up door to door as we'll get a quick word in here from our sponsors over at Prestige Enterprises.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US, and we have a wide range of services, but our main focus is our custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Alrighty, here we go. It is going to be a couple lap shootout before our next caution flag here to bring out the yellow flag again at the end of stage number 1 here at the completion of lap number 24. For these drivers, they know that there's an extra bonus point on the line for the playoffs. For other drivers, they know that they may need every single point they can get, because it could be the difference maker between advancing in these playoffs or unfortunately not making it into the playoffs here this evening. So for each and every one of these cats out there on the racetrack, they're trying to get everything they can, and a big stage win could mean those extra bonus points to help you along and help try and advance you throughout our playoffs here this afternoon. So they're looking for everything they can get. They're looking for all the points that are available to them, and for one of these lucky drivers, that extra point could be a difference maker between putting yourself into the playoffs or unfortunately missing out here, as we've seen it time and time again. Drivers just missing out on either advancing into the playoffs or advancing in a round in the playoffs on that one single point. And you could get it right here, right now. You just need to reach out there, get that one extra spot, and potentially put yourself into a better position. As here we go, back to green flag racing as they head down through that tri-oval back to the Geico restart zone here, just out of the tri-oval. As there we go, a big restart there for that number 11 ride as quickly he's going to get onto the lap pedal. That Premier Racing Setups Auto Value Parts Store going to get back onto the throttle. He's going to look to slide up the racetrack here. As here comes a big run to the outside, as I do believe that his teammates there are hooked up on the outside lane. The 31 of Dylan Carrier in that 89 ride in that beautiful throwback paint scheme there. I do believe that is to the 2001 Atlanta, no, 2001, 2003? No, I think it's the 2001 Atlanta paint scheme there for Kevin Harvick, I do believe, on that 89 ride. And I don't know if it was really in a movie or not. It probably was in movies for Dale Earnhardt and his life and everything else. And then, Kevin Harvick being able to jump into this ride and fill that seat after Dale Earnhardt unfortunately passed away. And he's looking beautiful out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, washes up the speedway and slides backwards right there as he's got no help to his back bumper. Is now Scott Healy in the back bumper of the 31 ride, giving him a big shove. And now here he comes right to the back end of the 11 ride. That's going to break him up there a little bit, and Healy will move down to the inside lane right there and unfortunately shove that number 31 of Dylan Carrier now into that third lane. Now he's in that same situation that we just saw out of his teammate in that 89 ride of Melvin Brangler. They both get kind of shuffled back there, now back in 9th and 10th on the Speedway. As Carrier able to line back up, get in behind this 16 ride of Matthew Wood and keep on trucking his short hand out in front, just trying to hang on to this ride as he's got a lot of fast cats around him, and it's Danny White looking to try to take this stage win. Danny White right there down low looking to get some good help here, some big shoves out of that 99 ride of Ryan Haller, and that number 6 of Brian Underwood is down across the line. Jordan Hand will lead another lap, is down across the line. They will click off lap number 23. This is our final lap here in stage number 1, and for that 11 ride of Jordan Hand, he is looking for the extra playoff point here. He is looking to try to keep these extra points. You see the 37 of Evan Stewart up into the outside fence right there. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green. Stewart still rolling down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, that's going to give him some pretty good damage as here we go down low. Here comes that 79 ride trying to figure out a big run here as they're hooked up on the outside lane. Unfortunately, he's just needing Ryan Haller to give a little bit better help here, and they're not getting any help from behind as that's two teammates to the 11 ride down that inside lane. If they push that inside groove farther forward, unfortunately that could put the 11 ride out of a bonus point, and unfortunately for everybody else, they will not take it away from them as out in front, picking up stage win number 1. It is that number 11 ride of Jordan Hand. So Hand gets that first stage win here this afternoon. Now, for our stages here, our first stage, we do not throw the caution flag. So no yellow flag there. We will keep it clean and green. And stage number 1, we don't throw the yellows. We only throw the yellow to end stage number 2. So that'll be on lap number 48. I actually forgot about that for a second. So we'll see some more good, hard, clean, green racing and not going back to the caution flag here in this one. So that is always good to see as you see Danny White now battling with Scott Healy here as Healy is our race leader as picking up that stage win. The 11 ride quickly bailed out of it and went right to the back of this pack here as he slid all the way back now into that 10th position. He's got Brian Underwood right there, his teammate back behind him in that 6th ride. Another Wonder Bread ride as the Wonder is back. The Wonder Bread Underwood machine rolls there in the 11th position. Evan Stewart back there in position number 12 with Josh Crider in the Wonder Bread number 5 ride. Going around him is Aiden Lucas. Unfortunately now finds himself as the first driver 1 lap down out there on the Speedway. Applegate right there in 17th. He is the second car a lap down. Michael Potter Jr. the third driver a lap down with Jonathan Gaston. He's a couple laps down back there in 19th. And then we see Farrell Robbins still down pit road in that 76 ride. Unfortunately, multiple laps down there for himself and for Michael Durham Jr. Multiple laps down as well for that Aaron's Toyota 00 ride. Multiple laps down, scored back in 21st. So for some of these drivers, early issues, early damage and carnage for them. Unfortunately has them quite a ways back here and just trying to rebound, just trying to get back into contention here this evening. Unfortunately, they're going to need more caution flags, more wave arounds, and more opportunities to gain positions out there. And for some of them, their night may be already made, and they may be just trying to roll out there with what they got and hoping to see if they can pick up a couple extra points late here in the evening. As Ghost Killer says, let's see some action out there, guys. 31, I have money on you. Got a little bit of money on Dylan Carrier. That's what's up right there. Getting a little bit of money there on that Phoenix Esports number 31 machine as Carrier trying to continue to get that outside lane rolling. Unfortunately, just hasn't seemed to, been able to carry that bottom lane. And for that 31 ride, he's been kind of stuck here in that outside groove. Finally getting a little bit of help here is Ben Gleason there on his back back bumper, but now Gleason up the racetrack here. Looks like he's going to bail out of it, and he's going to go to the back of the line here. So now he'll have the 89 of Melvin Brengroer now to his back bumper, as here comes that 6 of Brian Underwood. Underwood rolling the outside lane. Unfortunately, just got drove up the racetrack there a little bit by Ryan Haller, as he's in that Cal Norton Jr. number 99, that Old Spice ride out there on the Speedway. Cal Norton, a little bit of shake and bake right there, as it's shades of Talladega here at Dega, as the Ricky Bobby, the Talladega Nights rides right there, door to door out there on the Speedway. As I can't quite tell if that's either Ricky Bobby or Cal Norton out there on the racetrack, or if that's Brian Underwood and Ryan Haller battling out there on the Speedway for that 7th and 8th position on the racetrack. As right there behind him is that 20 rider Aiden Lucas. Lucas still in that free pass position here. He knows that his teammate right behind him in that 57 ride, Grant Applegate, also looking to get that wave around, also looking for that free pass out there on the Speedway, rolling there in that 17th position. So these drivers are going to have to try to play some of that strategy game, try to figure out what they need to do out there on the Speedways. Things shuffled up a little bit more here at the front of the field. They've shuffled that 77 rider Scott Healy into the outside lane for Healy. He slides back now into a battle for third here as Landon Burbage back to the point. Landon out in front with Matthew Wood in second here. They've been locked together all night long. Landon and the 16 ride teamwork makes the dream work here in this series, and right now you're seeing it here at full force. His drivers just trying to work together, trying to line up with their teammates. Unfortunately for some, already having issues out there and not being able to find their teammates, and we'll have to wait and see if they can get up there. As you do see Scott Healy gets a big shove from that 31 right at Dylan Carrier. Carrier pushes him right back to the front of the field as he drops down low back in front of Landon Burbage. Unfortunately for Burbage, now stuck back there. He's going to see if he can keep pushing the 77 right, maybe push him out a little farther, and then try to work himself back around that 777 machine. As Healy out in front here at Talladega Super Speedway, Dylan Carrier, Landon Burbage, that 6 rider Brian Underwood, and Matthew Wood, our top 5 out there on the Speedway. Then we see Melvin Branger, the 79 of Danny White, the 66 of Ben Gleason there in 8th with Ryan Haller back in 9th, and that's the 18, the Hardy's ride there in position number 10. To his outside is that 20 ride of Aiden Lucas in the 57 of Grant Applegate. Then we see Jordan Hand back here in the 11th position, our stage 1 winner in that Premier Racing Setups right now. Unfortunately for Jordan Hand, he was last down pit road on lap number 8, so he is going to have to make another pit stop here rather soon. If we don't see another caution flag, he may have to come down pit road, and it could be all by himself. And same with Dylan Carrier. Carrier's yet to come down pit road in this race, so to wait and see what the fuel mileage is like, how long these guys can stay out there, and how it's going to shape up for them. For Carrier and Jordan Hand potentially in a tough position out there. Last down pit road on not down pit road for Carrier, lap 8 for Jordan Hand. It was lap number 6 for Ryan Haller as well. He's going to be looking to come back down pit side here a lot of laps sooner than the rest of this field, and same with Melvin Branger in that 89 ride. So that's where some of this fuel strategy, the pit strategy, really coming into play here tonight. Even though we got stage breaks, even though we saw a bunch of caution flags early in this race, for some of those drivers, you go down pit road all by yourself and you lose that draft, and you got to roll out there kind of all by your lonesome for, 5, 10, 15 laps. You could go a lap down in a quick hurry, not being a part of this league group, and all of a sudden you could be put into a very tough situation in a quick hurry. As Scott Healy out in front, Landon Burbage right there in second. We'll have to wait and see when some of these drivers have to start navigating their way down pit road, as they're on lap number 33 here of this race. And so far, we haven't seen Dylan Carrier have to come down pit side. So even under those caution flags, maybe able to save a little bit of fuel, maybe have a little extra left in that tank. But for that 31 ride, it's got to be getting very close to when these guys need to head down pit road. They're going to have to start headed down pit side here, I'm going to say rather soon here, probably in the next 5 to 10 laps. We're really going to start to see some of these guys that came down pit road early or haven't came down pit road at all yet have to make their way down there. So it'll be interesting to see and how that may affect them, where that may line them up out there on the racetrack here late in this race. As unfortunately for Ghost Killer, know that your drivers get to come down pit road, and everyone else has already made some pit stops, whether or not it was for damage or just getting fuel only out there on the racetrack. And that may be the big break right there, as around goes Landon Burbage. A bunch of other drivers tied up in this one, including Melvin Brengruer, and there is a ton of carnage again on the front or back straightaway here, as you do see that Wonder Bread, the Underwood ride, as the 6 machine tore up. He's turned around, pointing the wrong direction. He gets collected in, and a few other drivers also collected here in this one, as it's up towards the front here. Looks like Scott Healy makes a big move here just up in front of the 6 ride, and that kind of just gets him bottlenecked up right there. Seem to get a little bit bottlenecked right there. Drivers moving around. Unfortunately, Brangruer gets into the 16 ride. You see the 6 and the 2. They get tied together, as luckily enough for Underwood, I think that may have saved him right there, shoving him down the racetrack and onto the apron. But you see Underwood and the 89 of Melvin Brangruer, they're tied together into the outside fence here, and pretty good damage for both of those drivers. And down low you see Landon Burbage. Burbage was having a great run here up inside the top 5 pretty much all evening long, keeping that 2 ride nice and clean, and now him and his teammate getting some damage there, as well as you're going to see this contact again, just battling hard out there. Lots of pushing and shoving. Unfortunately, as he goes around, he ends up clipping the 79 right at Danny White. You see, and then gets a little contact there between himself and the 89 of Brangruer. Luckily enough, doesn't make any hard contact there at that inside fence, but for a couple of these other cats like Danny White right there getting tied up in it. Michael Ponder Jr. in there again as well with some damage. And for some of these other drivers, man, just luckily enough, able to get out of some of this action, able to keep themselves out of all this battling out there on the Speedway. And, man, some big calls right there. A lot of drivers able to just quickly get down and out of the way here this afternoon, as a lot of these cats, man, just take another look at it, how it kind of gets bottlenecked up here for this number 89 ride for the 6 ride, as they see the 77 come up in front of them, and then they just kind of get bent to the shape, just pushes in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and that's how quickly things can go wrong out there on the racetrack. That is super speedway racing in a nutshell. One single move, one mistake out there on the racetrack, unfortunately, could collect you and a lot of other drivers out there on the speedway. See if we can get another look here at some of these other cats that were a little farther back that were trying to work themselves through that right there. As I do believe Noah Blackwell, he's trying to get through there. He sees this one pretty nicely and able to quickly get down low as they start to bottleneck up. They start to wreck. He goes down to the apron, luckily enough gets right on and around it, but they are continue to wreck back there behind him. You see Applegate, Ben Gleason, they're all able to avoid it there. That 31 ride of Dylan Carrier able to keep himself out of that contact and carnage, and fortunately, again, another yellow flag. More drivers down pit road getting work done, trying to get their cars fixed up and trying to get back out there onto the racetrack here this afternoon, as Matthew Wood is now our race leader. Even though he got some contact out of that one, he continues to lead the way in the 57 ride. I do believe is still going to be scored a lap down here, as Grant Applegate back there in that 16th position. I think he's looking for that lucky dog right here, as Aiden Lucas did come down pit road. He is not in position for that lucky dog anymore, and for Grant Applegate potentially could get a lap back here and potentially put himself back onto the lead lap here this afternoon, as Blackwell, Underwood, Melvin Brangruer, Evan Stewart, Aiden Lucas, Michael Ponder Jr., so many of these drivers down pit road getting repairs, getting their cars fixed up here, as you do see Farrell Robbins roll back out there. He's now scored back in the 21st position here at the rear of the field. He's about 12 laps or so down here, unfortunately, in this race. Is out in front, it's Matthew Wood who leads the way. He's looking to keep these drivers back there at bay, as we'll go back to battle here in just a few more moments, as we do see some of these lap down drivers and some other drivers head down pit side here. Here comes Ben Gleason in the 66. The number 57 of Applegate comes back down pit road. Connolly, Dylan Carrier finally going to come down pit side, get some fuel into that 31 ride. Nathan Brookover in that Dark Knight Rises. Number 8 machine also down pit road here. So, some different strategies, some different pit calls here, and we'll get them stacked up, we'll get them ranked up, we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here again this afternoon as mayhem, carnage out there on the Speedway. I don't even know how many caution flags we're on now, chat. What is that, our 4th, 5th, 6th caution flag now for incident out there on the Speedway? And unfortunately, it hasn't been single car issues. There are, it's been, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers all getting collected in each and every one of these ranks. It hasn't been, a lot of drivers that have been clean and green out there that haven't really gotten too much damage onto their race cars. I mean, even the 16 rider, Matthew Wood, who's our race leader, he just had a car bounce off of him, make some pretty hard contact with that right-hand side of that 16 ride right about there on the racetrack. And the Racers for Christ, right, luckily enough, doesn't look like that damage is too significant. Going to stay out on the racetrack, not going to come down pit side, but we've seen a lot of tore up race cars. And as we continue to see these caution flags and have these issues out there on the racetrack, these drivers not going to be able to get these cars repaired, not going to be able to keep on racing or use a quick repair out there on the Speedway, and may have to spend, minutes, laps, maybe even, the rest of the race down on pit road just trying to get their cars repaired enough where they can roll back out there onto the racetrack. And that's where we see potentially a lot of DNFs that could come up, that could arise here this afternoon. And you don't want to be one of those drivers. You don't want to be getting a DNF. You don't want to be getting a did not finish out there, especially in our regular season finale here, the last race before our playoffs get underway. His night band says 13, stand up. 13. Is he the real Slim Shady out there in that 13 ride? Why is he standing up? Is the 13 ride unfortunately got tied up in another one of those wrecks? Michael Potter Jr., unfortunately, not a whole lot of room out there. And for that 13 ride, he's gotten tore up a couple times here this evening, and he's one of those drivers that we talked about that unfortunately has that damage and not back out there onto the racetrack. As we go back to green flag racing, he's still parked down pit road as Matthew Wood gets a good restart, has that 777 ride as Scott Healy all over his back bumper. Ryan Haller sits there in third. Haller, one of those drivers that could be a bit of a playoff spoiler here. As here tonight, he could try to pick up a big win and lock himself into our playoffs here. He's going to need to race his way in. He needs to pick up a dub if he wants to be a part of the playoffs here this afternoon. So for that 99 ride, he's in good position here. He got tied up and got a little damage early on, but has gotten that repaired, and he's been battling up here inside the top 5, top 10 here for multiple laps this afternoon. We'll see if he can get that Cal Norton Jr. Old Spice number 99 ride up and into victory lane here this evening as you see Danny White. Danny getting a big shove now from that Premier Racing Setups number 11 ride, that Denny Hamlin paint scheme number 11 out there on the Speedway. As we do see Healy, he's right there on the back bumper of that 16 ride of Matthew Wood. We see Landon Burbage still up there, even with that damage on the front end of that NJP Designs Powerhouse number 2 ride. Burbage still up inside the top 10, continue to battle here. He's got a little bit of a tore up car back there behind him, and Noah Blackwell is the 37 there to their outside. Unfortunately for the 37, he is a lap down out there on the Speedway. No, he's not. Evan Stewart still on the lead lap there. The AG Motorsports number 37 ride still in contention here this evening, as well as Heroes there in 7th. Dylan Carrier, he's trying to get that third lane rolling here, going to that third lane right to the outside of the 76 and that 37 ride, and looking to try to race his way up to the front of the field here, maybe looking for that stage win here in stage number 2 as we quickly close in on the end of stage number 2 here this evening. As lap 40 up and onto the board here, about 8 laps left to go here before we see that caution flag come back out for the end of stage number 2, where we're going to hand out another bonus point for the playoffs to our stage 2 winner, and also we're going to be giving out some more points here, which could be make or break between advancing into the playoffs or unfortunately sliding out of a playoff position here this evening. So earning these stage points, earning the potential bonus point for the playoffs could help you in your hunt for the championship here this afternoon. As out in front, leading the way, it is that 16 of Matthew Wood. Wood out in front, Scott Healy still right there on his back bumper. Danny White trying to work that outside lane as he's looking for another big run with the 11 right there to his back bumper. As the 11 right at Jordan Hand, he's looking pretty good here. He's trying to size himself up and see if he can put himself into position to maybe pick up stage win number 2 as well. He was able to pick up stage win number 1 here this afternoon, and maybe this 11 ride just has that extra gear when it's very important if they're on the racetrack. Getting that first stage win, now in position here late in this one to maybe line himself up here for maybe picking up stage win number 2 as well, and that's a couple extra playoff points. That's a couple, that's 20 extra regular season points as well for the 11 ride. Will be very, very useful here as now he moves up into that third lane here, hoping that his teammate there, Grant Applegate, goes with him. So far, Applegate not going to that third lane, not leaving that 79 right high and dry, but there he goes. Now they're going to leave. That 79 of Danny White, unfortunately, stuck there in the middle, kind of all by his lonesome here, but he's holding strong and now getting his teammate now to his back bumper as here comes that Old Dogs Racing number 76. That is Farrell Robbins. Farrell, unfortunately, multiple laps down here, but back out there on the Speedway, got that car repaired and continuing to battle here this evening, and he's right there on the back end of that 79 ride. As they battle down into corner number 3, they're looking for a big run as they've got that 31 of Dylan Carrier right there with them as the Phoenix Esports ride looking to try to race his way up towards the front of the field as the 11 of Jordan Hand and the 57 of Grant Applegate go from that third lane down to the second lane again. Unfortunately, those moves did not help them out. Now you see the 11 again trying to make a big move here on the outside as you do see Danny White getting pushed to the front of the field here. His teammate multiple laps down, but still out there on the racetrack competing, battling, and gonna try to help his teammate potentially pick up a win here this evening. As you see another big move, a couple big wiggles down the back straightaway. Luckily enough, everyone able to hang on to it and keep their cars pointed in the right direction. As Danny White leads the way, Matthew Wood there in second down the inside, trying to get that line moving back to the front of the field here. The outside lane trying to get a little bit more organized again as Healy working that 16 right out in front, and right there behind me, do you see Ryan Holler, what it would mean to him to be able to find victory lane here and work his way into the playoffs here this year for that Old Spikes 99 ride. Him and his teammate Wyatt Mickelson have been having some great runs, some great drives out there. Unfortunately, I do believe both drivers are on the outside of the playoffs looking in, but this win would lock him into the playoffs. It would unfortunately knock another driver out of the playoffs. Here's our top 12, looking to try to race their way in here. We do know the 76, he's locked into the playoffs after picking up our Season 1 win at Daytona. So for Farrell Robbins, he's got nothing to lose here tonight. He's already 13 laps down, 14 laps down. He's back there and battling. He's already locked himself into the playoffs here, but still rolling out there trying to help his Old Dogs to the front of the field here as they're going to go 3 wide as Melvin Brangruer still down pit road here. Unfortunately for Melvin, that may be all she wrote for his days. We do see Michael Ponder Jr. He's back out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, multiple laps down there for himself. Michael Durham Jr. in the Aaron's 00 ride, multiple laps down as well as Jonathan Gaston, Aiden Lucas, Grant Applegate, all a lap or multiple laps down out there on the Speedway. Josh Crider in this beautiful Wonderbred Crider number 5 ride, rolling back there in the 14th position. He's the last driver on the lead lap as we inch closer and closer to the end of stage number 2 here this evening, and they're 3 wide here at the front of the field. Matthew Wood out in front though, continuing to hold him off and continue to put himself into this big spot here to try to pick up and steal potentially a playoff point and a bonus point away from all these other drivers that are back there behind him. So for the 777 ride, he's he's in the same boat there for Scott Healy. He's not one of our playoff drivers here this year, and same with potentially Ryan Haller. If they could pick up this stage win and keep these drivers back there at bay, it could mean that, another playoff point is off the table that these guys can't earn. They can't use to their advantage, but that 11 ride, he wants it. He wants it badly. He continues to try to make some moves. He's worked himself back around that 31 of Dylan Carrier, and now trying to get that third lane rolling as he wants to work himself to the front of the field. He wants to pick up this stage win and earn that extra playoff point to try to help himself back into our season championship, as he's been part of that championship race a couple times. Unfortunately, he's been snake bitten in them and has been able to find himself as our champion here in the series. And for the 11 ride, every single bonus point that he could get could potentially be that difference maker between him working himself back into that same scenario to battle for this season's championship. As Matthew Wood down low, though, continue to get some good shoves, some good help back there with Scott Healy right with him in position number 2. That Old Spice Cal Norton Jr., that number 99 ride, continues to roll the inside lane as well, right on their back bumper, and they found a lot of speed. Unfortunately for the 2 ride of Landon Burbage, not a whole lot Burbage can do. Has some pretty good front end damage in that powerhouse number 2 ride, and if he starts making some moves and jumps out of line or anything else and gets that clean air on the front of that car, it's kind of like a parachute, and it could kill all of his speed and his momentum in a quick hurry and send him straight to the back of the pack. But right now still in contention for some extra stage points right here to help him on his way into the playoffs. As Matthew Wood out in front, continue to show these drivers how to get it done here at Talladega Super Speedway as he continues to lead the way. Scott Healy continues to stick onto his back bumper as they exit corner number 2. You see a little bit of pushing and shoving right there. A couple of drivers getting a little squirrely, as unfortunately for that outside lane, Dylan Carrier again, just no help, no one going with him right there. And for Dylan, he's going to slide back a little bit farther here in the standings, and unfortunately may be even outside of a stage point area here on the racetrack. Looking up, there's a few drivers inside this battle in the front of the field here that are a lap or multiple laps down, so potentially could still be some extra points on the line there for him, as Matthew Wood out in front down across the line here. Looks like he is going to pick up stage win number 2. So Matthew Wood able to steal that stage away from all these other playoff drivers, and unfortunately for them, there's no extra bonus point that's going to go into their back pocket, into their piggy bank here this year for our playoffs, as Wood able to steal that stage win and keep those drivers back there at bay. And unfortunately for them, they aren't going to be able to get that extra playoff bonus point here, as Matthew Wood picks up our second stage win of the day. Scott Healy there in second, Danny White, Ryan Haller, Landon Burbage, Jordan Hand back there in 6th, and we see Noah Blackwell, Ben Gleason, Dylan Carrier, and Evan Stewart rounding out our top 10 there on the racetrack. Brian Underwood, he's back in position number 11. Still got some pretty good rear end damage on that 6th ride. Looking to hopefully get some more of that repaired here this afternoon during this caution flag. As William Connolly there in 12th with Josh Crider. Nathan Brookover rounding out our top 14, still in the lead lap. Grant Applegate, he was in that free pass position. The lucky dog spot out there on the speedway. So for Grant, potentially going to get that lucky dog and a wave around back onto the lead lap for Aiden Lucas. He's back here in 16th now. He is unfortunately on the outside of that lucky dog area, so unless if everyone comes down pit road in front of him that's on the lead lap, he may stay a lap down, needing another caution flag. Jonathan Gaston back there in 17th in that chicken pit 72 ride. Unfortunately, multiple laps down there for that 72 ride, as Gaston unfortunately got tied up in a couple early incidences here this afternoon. Michael Durham Jr. in that 00, the Aaron's ride, he's multiple laps down as well. He's been tied up and tore up a couple times out there on the racetrack. Same with Michael Ponder Jr., same with Farrell Robbins back there in 20th, and last place in 21st on the speedway, still down pit side as this Next Level Racing number 89 rider Melvin Brengerer. And for Brengerer, this is potentially a big one here for him as he's parked down pit road, potentially in last place. I do believe he was one of those drivers that were kind of on the bubble here, on potentially either, racing his way in on points or not racing his way in on points. We'll have to wait and see if somebody can leapfrog him and potentially knock him out of that 12th position here for our playoffs and eliminate him before the playoffs even start. And for the 89, being down pit road, having a tore-up race car and not having it, in your hands, in your fate out there on the racetrack and watching it all unfold is definitely a very tough spot to be. So, tough break out there early on for this 89 ride. Tough break for a lot of these drivers. We do see Dylan Carrier down pit road, able to get fueled up back out there on the racetrack, and he will now be our race leader here in this race. Danny White comes out in second. Ryan Haller back there in third with Nathan Brookover. Ben Gleason, our top 5. Jordan Hand back there in 6th with Evan Stewart there in 7th. Then we see Landon Burbage. He's down pit road, still trying to get that car repaired. The 16 ride, he's down pit side here. He's getting a little bit of repairs and making sure that his Racers for Christ ride is absolutely perfect here for late in this race. The EFF machine of William Connolly down pit road, still getting some repairs. The 777 ride, Scott Healy going to roll back out there as Noah Blackwell getting some extra repairs done to that beautiful 18 machine here this afternoon. Same with Brian Underwood in that Underwood Wonder Bread number 6 ride, that Ricky Bobby inspired paint scheme back there in the 15th position now is Josh Crider able to roll back out there as well in his Wonder Bread Crider paint scheme machine out there on the Speedway. As Aiden Lucas, he's looking for that wave around, looking to get a lap back out there on the racetrack. Grant Applegate was able to get that lucky dog. He is back onto the lead lap. So for Applegate and Aiden Lucas and the 72 rider Jonathan Gaston, looking for those wave arounds, looking for those, extra laps back out there on the racetrack. Could be make or break as the Thunderbird, the Motorcraft Chicken Pit 72 ride, ready to try to race his way back into contention here this afternoon. As Dylan Carrier is our race leader, he will lead us back to the green flag as we'll get a quick word in here from our sponsors over at Prestige Enterprises.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US and we have a wide range of services, but our main focus is our custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Alrighty, well, here we go. Getting ready to go back to battle. Getting ready to see that green flag fly here in our final stage of the day. Stage 1, Stage 2 are now into the books here in our regular season finale here. Our movie night race as well, so you see a lot of those movie paint schemed race cars out there like the Cal Norton Jr. Old Spice 99 ride who rolls back there in position number 3. The 18 ride back there as well, beautiful looking ride there as the villain there in the Days of Thunder movie. I do believe it is the Russ Wheeler paint scheme there at a Days of Thunder back in position number 5, getting ready for this restart here as well. As we'll get them all stacked up, we'll get them all racked up, and we'll get ready to go back to battle as Casey Joe coming in showing the love over there on YouTube. Casey says, let's go Durham, number 00. Cheering on Michael Durham Jr. here this afternoon. Unfortunately for Michael, he's run into a couple issues out there on the racetrack early on in this race. Unfortunately gotten tore up and tied up in a couple early wrecks here this afternoon, but still battling, still competing, still putting that 00 ride into the fight here this afternoon. Not going to give up an inch out there on the Speedway as we get them all ready to rock and roll, ready to get stacked up, racked up, and back to battle here in this one as each and every one of these drivers looking to try to race their way into the playoffs and looking to try to put themselves up and into the Talladega Super Speedway victory lane. As down into the tri-oval as we exit this tri-oval here at the beautiful Talladega Super Speedway, we will go back to green flag racing here, and we're going to jump into a Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, back to green flag racing, and we will jump into our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Crank up that volume right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session as we did see some drivers start to head down pit road. As out in front, it's Grant Applegate, a driver who not too long ago was a lap down, but now back onto the lead lap and fighting for this race lead. He's got Connolly there to his outside, but a teammate right there on his back bumper, Jordan Hand, trying to keep him out in front and leading this race. As our Peacemaker Gaming crank it up is going to come to a close here. Some great battles out there on the Speedway. Each and every one of these drivers doing a fantastic job there, giving us the sights and sounds around Talladega Super Speedway. As out in front, these drivers continue to make some moves. You do see Scott Healy down on the apron right there. Unfortunately, not a great pit stop there for Scott Healy. Looks like Healy going to get stopped here on the racetrack. The 777 ride down low here on the apron. Not rolling. Now looks like he's going to take this car down pit road. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what went wrong here with this 777 machine. Just came down pit road, made that green flag pit stop. Now finds himself a lap down, going multiple laps down out there on the racetrack and down on pit road. We did see Ryan Haller, that number 2 right to Landon Burbage. We did see Matthew Wood come down pit road, all right there on lap number 68, virtually splitting this final stage in half there. It is a 88-lap race. We went back green flag racing right around lap number 50, so they kind of virtually split it there, going right down the middle at lap number 68 with 20 laps left to go, coming down pit road. Now everyone else that's still in front of them has to make their way down pit lane. They gotta make another green flag pit stop. Now we'll wait and see what the difference is here. They got this little 3-car pack out there on the racetrack battling here with each other, but this lead pack could be laying down even quicker lap times, and unfortunately, that's what looks like it's happening here. Unfortunately for these drivers that are back there behind our race leaders, they are not faster. They are not grouped together with more drivers, and unfortunately, they are falling farther and farther behind. So pitting early here with the three of them. Sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. It may be mayhem, it may be chaotic down going to pit lane here with a bigger group, and they were supposed to have that 777 right to Scott Healy with them. Unfortunately, Healy now down on pit road. We haven't seen Scott get back out onto the racetrack. Looks like he's actually taken that car right off of the speedway and back down behind pit wall, so I'm not sure if maybe the motor let go or something, trying to roll up through the gears, getting back up to speed, as we'll have to wait and see when all these other drivers elect to come down pit road, when they decide to make this green flag pit stop here, and where that's going to line them up with the other drivers that have already made those green flag pit stops. When you look at Matthew Wood, Landon Burbage, Ryan Haller, even Jonathan Gaston has already made a green flag pit stop back there on lap number 66, same with that 20 ride of Aiden Lucas. Now, they're quite a ways behind here. They're about 10 seconds back behind that other group, that other pairing that was already down pit road and only pitted 2 laps difference, but unfortunately 10 seconds out there on the racetrack between them and this second group that's out there on the speedway. As our lead group, they continue to battle, they continue to fight up here at the front of the field as Grant Applegate continues to lead the way. Applegate out in front with Jordan Hand there in second. Connolly to his outside, that's the Wonder Bread, the Underwood ride of Brian Underwood. They're in position number 4 and looking for more. Dylan Carrier and his Phoenix Esports number 31 ride rolls there just inside the top 5. Here comes Josh Crider. It's good to see Crider back out there on the racetrack. He's another one of those Ricky Bobby inspired paint schemes out there on the speedways. The Talladega Nights movie ride rolling there, and right in behind the other Wonder Bread ride, the other Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby paint scheme car of Brian Underwood. Ben Gleason back there as well in that 66 ride. You see that double zero ride, unfortunately for Durham. He is multiple laps down back there in that Aaron's 0-0 machine, and for him it's just been a tough day at the racetrack. For Ben Gleason, though, he's back here in position number 8, still on the lead lap, still in contention. Same with his number 18 rider. Noah Blackwell is unfortunately right in front of him. We do see that 76 of Farrell Robbins. Robbins is scored back in position number 20 now, multiple laps down here for that 76 riders. We do see that 0-0 make his way down pit side. So a couple drivers that are laps down out there on the racetrack. Michael Durham Jr. and Michael Ponder Jr. both heading down pit road here together as a 2-car tandem coming down pit road here, and that kind of split up that back of the lead pack right there, is unfortunately everyone's going to try to get back into line, try to get things figured back out, and try to get rolling again here on the speedways. Applegate, Jordan Hand, Dylan Carrier still all have to come down pit side. Everyone inside this lead pack still have to make a green flag pit stop here this afternoon, so we'll have to wait and see where they're at and where they kind of all line up together, if they can get down and make a clean pit stop here in this one. As Going Dark 420 says, blew up Scotty 777. Oh, that is a tough one right there. That's kind of what we thought. Very, very fast car, very good driver. It's not like him to leave a race early like that. So unfortunately for Scott Healy, that's what we were kind of thinking, trying to get up and through those gears after making that green flag pit stop. Unfortunately, maybe just downshifted instead of upshifted, or vice versa, or maybe potentially just running too high RPMs and something inside that motor unfortunately let go. And for that 777 ride of Healy, he is down behind pit wall, and looks like his night is done. That chicken is cooked here this afternoon as Grant Applegate out in front, continue to lead the way. His teammate Jordan Hand right there on his back bumper. Both these drivers looking to just, I do believe Applegate's already locked into the playoffs. I do believe Jordan Hand on points is probably locked in as well, but you just never quite know. But he's had a good run so far, got some good stage points there in stage 1, picking up that stage 1 win. Stage number 2 was up there inside the top 5, and definitely needed those extra points, making sure that he is clean and good to go here for the playoffs, and definitely trying to build some of that momentum. Him and his Redemption Motorsports team have been on fire here this season. They have found victory lane quite a few times. Applegate, Jordan Hand, the 6th rider Brian Underwood, and that 20 ride back there, Aiden Lucas. Man, they have had some big strings. They've gotten some big wins out there, especially for this 20 Ryan getting his first official win here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, and then going on a run of winning, 4 straight races in that 20 ride, and then Applegate picking up a couple wins as well now. Underwood and Jordan Hand yet to find victory lane, but they've had some very good runs, a lot of good top 5 runs, and a couple stage wins as well. And for both of them, I do believe going to be racing their way in on points, not with a win. So doing it the hard way here, the blue collar way out there on the racetrack, as Applegate continuing to lead the way. Jordan Hand there in second, Dylan Carrier rolling there in third. I know Carrier, he's looking to potentially race his way into the playoffs here this afternoon. I'm not sure exactly what the points are looking like, but for some of these drivers, they're on that bubble on whether or not a good run here at Talladega could leave them in the playoffs or advance them into the playoffs. And for other drivers, you have a bad run, you have a tough night, like Melvin Brengerer, who's back there in position number 21, the last place driver on the Speedway. Unfortunately, having a bad night could potentially be the end of his hopes and trying to race his way into the playoffs here this afternoon. So for the 89 ride, he could be potentially out of contention here this evening for our playoffs. Says each and every one of these drivers, that's what's on the back of their mind, this being the final regular season race before our playoffs get started, just trying to cash in on every single point they can. And this race is quickly coming to a close out there on the speedways. Applegate out in front, Jordan Hand, Dylan Carrier, our top 3 here on the speedway, as only 10 laps left to go here, and potentially still green flag pit stops here left for some of these drivers. Now, I do believe they may be very, very close on making it on fuel. So if they can make it on fuel, I'm not sure what the strategy call was there for Matthew Wood and Landon Burbage and Ryan Haller, unfortunately coming down pit road on lap number 68. Even for Gaston and Aiden Lucas, who have now went a lap down back here as they came down pit road together on lap number 66. They're back a lap down in 14th and 15th on the racetrack. And without seeing all these other drivers having to make green flag pit stops, they could potentially be stuck back there and unfortunately not getting the runs that they were hoping for here this afternoon, especially for Gaston. After rebounding, got tied up and went upside down early in this race. The 72 ride went a few laps down, was able to get the wave arounds in the lucky dogs and put himself back onto the lead lap until making that green flag pit stop and not having any drafting help out there. Unfortunately, he did go another lap down, but he may get it back right here. As here we go, everyone else starting to head down pit lane. Here comes Applegate, here comes Jordan Hand, here comes Dylan Carrier, and the rest of our lead pack here. Unfortunately, the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas also coming back down pit road here, so that's going to keep him a lap down and in this lead pack. Brooke over as well, a lap down, but he's also down pit road. Unfortunately for him and Evan Stewart, both missed their pit boxes, had to throw them in reverse and back them up and get back out there, as unfortunately that couple seconds may hurt them as everyone else starting to leave their pit stalls. Applegate spinning the tires here a little bit. You want to make sure you come out together with people. You want to make sure that you have some drafting help to your back bumper. And if you're some of these other drivers like Matthew Wood, Landon Burbage, that 99 rider Ryan Haller, you're hoping you can just blow right on by them all and put yourself out in front of this field and just run away with this one, as that's what could potentially happen here. Underwood, he's up into 8th now. He's looking to try to catch up and pass all these other drivers. They're starting to build up speed and momentum down the back straightaway here. Some of them lined together, some of them not lined up together here, as you do see Connolly, Jordan Hand, Danny White there, all right there. That's our top 4 on the racetrack right now. And what do we mean for Danny White to find victory lane, or William Connolly back there in that 25 ride? Jordan Hand would love to find it, as well as Dylan Carrier, as Blackwell rolls there in position number 5. Then you see that 16 ride of Matthew Wood. He's back here in 6, and he's got that draft right there. He's got the rear end of the 18 ride, and he's going to roll up on him in a quick hurry, and he's going to look quickly to the outside. Is Matthew Wood looking to get back out in front and looking for the race lead with his teammate right there on his back bumper? So the pit strategy, luckily enough, does play out kind of perfectly here for those 3 drivers, for Matthew Wood, for Landon Burbage, and that 99 rider Ryan Haller, as here they are on the outside battling for the race lead late in this race. So a good bit of pit strategy, a good couple of lucky breaks, and making sure that everyone else had to come down pit lane. And now here they are duking it out for the win this afternoon. Unfortunately for some of those other drivers, not the pit stops that they were hoping for, as Grant Applegate was a little bit slower there. Unfortunately, he's trying to just catch this draft, trying to reel these guys in, and he might be able to just hang on to that draft. Unfortunately for Brian Underwood, the 76 and that 66 of Ben Gleason, they did not get the pit stops that they were hoping for, and they are unfortunately about 5 seconds back of that lead pack, and being a 3-car tandem right there, they are not going to be able to catch them without seeing a caution flag. Evan Stewart, that mistake down pit road, sliding in through his box and then having to back it up. That little mistake, that little slip up, unfortunately cost him a couple seconds. Now he's out here all by himself and no help around him. Josh Crider also slowed down pit road. He's back in 13th. Jonathan Gaston, he's still rolling out there, back on the lead lap, but unfortunately he's quite a ways back from that lead pack here. He's got that 00 of Michael Durham Jr., the 13 of Michael Ponder Jr., and that 8 ride, and Nathan Brook over there with them, but unfortunately not tied up with that lead pack, and back in position number 14 there for that chicken pit, number 72. As Matthew Wood out in front, you start to see that third line brewing. We're going 3-wide racing here late in this race at Talladega Super Speedway. It's a 9-car fight here at the front of the field as the 57 of Applegate able to join the fun here, as he does get a little piece of that outside fence right there. Hopefully not going to lose too much momentum and not lose that draft, as here comes a big move from that 79 ride, Danny White. He's going to jump into the middle, as here we go. Matthew Wood gets a good run down into corner number 3 and slides down the racetrack. Landon Burbage going to go with them right in front of Dylan Carrier. Carrier now scored in third, as the outside lane's got a break in the part right there. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of help for Ryan Haller, as he kind of got left high and dry, but he is going to get the 31 of Dylan Carrier, who's going to move up into that middle lane, and right in front of him there as they'll try to work to get to the outside here of Matthew Wood, as Matthew trying to look for that victory here this evening, trying to get that Racers for Christ right back into victory lane. Landon Burbage, Dylan Carrier, our top 3, with William Connolly, Ryan Haller, Jordan Hand there working that outside lane. He's got a teammate in there in that fight as well as the 57 right there, trying to help him and the 18 and Noah Blackwell towards the front of the field, and not too far behind them, lap down, but still in this fight as well, and could potentially help bring his teammates into victory lane. It's that 20 ride of Aiden Lucas, as Aiden back here, he scored in the 15th position, the first car 1 lap down, but he's just here trying to help his teammates out, as unfortunately Jordan Hand in that outside lane not getting the runs that they were looking for, and they're going to slide back. They're going to actually fall into line, as now Dylan Carrier starting to get a heck of a run, heck of a push right here. He's looking to get again to the outside of Matthew Wood to battle door to door for the race lead. As they continue to battle, you see the 16 throw a big block, go off the racetrack there. That's going to break them all apart. Here comes Applegate. Here comes Ryan Haller. Big one down through the middle. Now Landon Burbage down low. He's looking for the race lead, as he's getting a big shove from that 25 right of William Connolly. So that little bit of mistake, that one slip up there for the 16 ride may have cost him this race, as late in it you can't make mistakes like that. And for the 2 right of Landon Burbage, his teammate, he says thank you very much. Now in prime position to potentially find victory lane here himself, as we do not want to see a late race caution flag. We want to see this go clean and green down to the end, and see these drivers just duke it out, pure skill and strength out there on the racetrack. Is unfortunately for Dylan Carrier, he's going to slide backwards here. He's up in that 3rd lane, no help, no shove to his back bumper, and unfortunately he's falling back in a quick hurry, but now going to slide down in front of that 18 ride of Noah Blackwell. Now going to make some moves, as Applegate moving around here as well, as they head down the back straightaway here at Talladega Super Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you came here for a show. Well, here you go, as very late in this race, our penultimate lap here this afternoon about to come to a close. Who's it going to be? Who's going to find victory lane? Will it be the driver who leads us down to the white flag, or will we see somebody steal it away from him? As now you see the 2 ride gets a little bit of a shove, moves up the racetrack here in front of Connolly, and down through the tri-oval back across the line. We'll see that white flag fly one more time around here at Talladega Super Speedway. Our regular season finale here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. It's coming all down to this, the final lap here this afternoon as the 79 of Danny White down low. You see that 25 ride pushing the 2 machine. That is the 2 of Landon Burbage in the middle, in the 11 of Jordan Hand up on the outside, getting a big shove from the 31 of Dylan Carrier. Carrier pushes the 11 to the front of the field, unfortunately gets left high and dry. Now Jordan Hand's trying to hold on to it. He moves up the racetrack over the nose there of the 2 ride. They make a little bit of contact. They're still battling, pushing and shoving down into the tri-oval. It's Danny White down low, and Jordan Hand gonna throw a couple more blocks and down through the tri-oval and across the line. It's Jordan Hand! Hand able to pick up the dub and put himself up and into victory lane. Jordan Hand making all the right moves, and late in this race can give a kiss right now to that 31 rider Dylan Carrier, as Carrier pushed him to the win here this afternoon. Danny White unfortunately coming up just a little bit shy there in second, and Landon Burbage back in third in that beautiful Powerhouse Racing number 2 machine. Matthew Wood there in fourth, and Ryan Haller, heck of a run there for the beautiful Old Spice 99 ride, that Cal Norton Jr. Ryan Haller machine coming home there in position number 5. Dylan Carrier, Grant Applegate back there in position number 6 and 7. Connolly there in 8th. Noah Blackwell and Brian Underwood rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. But it's all Jordan Hand here in this one, as Hand able to get it done and pick up a big checkered flag here in our regular season finale. He was there and it was able to make the right moves to pick up stage win number 1. He came up just a little bit shy of winning stage number 2, but here at the end, picking up that final stage, the main stage, it is that checkered flag, and he's the first one down across the line and able to pick up the dub here this evening as he birds down the house here, celebrating this afternoon a big win. It's been a long time coming here on the season for this number 11 ride, and now he's able to celebrate and able to party it up here a little bit here at Talladega Super Speedway, as we'll get ready to go back and take a look here at that finish as the 11 ride. He was kind of in a tough spot out there on the racetrack, and unfortunately just need a little extra there late in this one to be able to get this dub, and he got it. He got it good. As here you go. Let's take another look at it here. Is the 11 right. You look at him right here. He's on the outside of Applegate in the 7th position. He's the 4th car in line on that outside lane down to the white flag. Now he goes to the outside here of Matthew Wood. The 31 of Dylan Carrier goes with him. So there are 2 cars up on the outside lane trying to find some momentum, trying to find some speed, and all of a sudden, down out of corner number 2, Dylan Carrier just gets hooked up to his back bumper, and they're able to make the right moves at the right time, and Carrier now onto the back end of that 11 ride, gonna dump him down the back straightaway, and they get this huge run, this huge momentum, and it's gonna push this 11 right out in front where he's able to clear Landon Burbage, clears that 79 right at Danny White, now has control here on this final lap, and down through this final set of corners, able to block the 79, go up, block that 2 ride, Landon Burbage. Burbage nowhere to go, gives him a shove, gets him back out in front where he can clear the 79 right at Danny White, clears the 79, and from that point on, all he knows he needs to do is just keep his foot in the throttle, and right there, 3 wide back there behind him, but able to pick up the dub and keep all these drivers back there at bay. Man, what a run and what a drive for Jordan Hand, as we'll get ready to pull him up and into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. As man, what a run and what a drive here in this one, as Heyitskevcustoms has almost had the top 3, almost had it right there, brothers. His amazing race after a EOL. I did not have a I had a T to be the beginning, went a lap down, came back and finished in both stages, top 5 and a 5th place run. Amazing race, GG's Jordan. Yeah, amazing run, amazing race right there for Ryan Haller. Great race for all of these drivers, man. Absolutely battle here late in this race, duking it out, each and every single one of them down across the line, and it was a tight fight all the way down to the end. Some big moves, some big slides right there for that 11 rider Jordan Hand to be able to get it done and put himself up into victory lane, as we'll get ready to pull him up into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. Hey Jordan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Jordan, man, you're finally able to get it done here in this one as you're able to put yourself up and into victory lane, man. Take us back through it, and what's going through your mind there is coming to that white flag, you were finding yourself back in about that 7th, 8th position. All of a sudden, you make a move to the outside. Dylan Carrier goes with you, and man, oh man, oh man, you may owe him a beer here after this one as he pushes you down the back straightaway, out in front, and then you're able to make some big blocks, keep these drivers back there at bay, and pull yourself up and in to the Talladega Super Speedway victory lane.
Man, honestly, I owe him a beer for sure. Him and Landon gave me a good push there on the front stretch too, coming to the checkered. So I gotta give him props. But no, man, I told myself going in, I was already locked in the playoffs, so I figured I'd be aggressive, and we won stage 1 too. And I was like, you know, if I can get some bonus points for the playoffs, we'll do it. And normally I have terrible luck at these places, man. Like Daytona, Dega, I always get wrecked or some crazy thing happen, but it seemed like tonight was the night where it just all went good, man. The green flag pit stop, everything. It went great.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything went right for you here this afternoon. For a lot of these other drivers, they can't say the same. A lot of things went wrong for a lot of them out there on the racetrack. A lot of early carnage, a lot of tore-up race cars. And here in this one, though, you're able to keep that 11 ride pretty clean out there. And as you said, you know, you drive up, put yourself in position to win stage number 1. You were very close there in stage number 2 as well, trying to race your way up to the front of the field there and trying to earn some more of those bonus points and playoff points here. And tonight you're very, very close to maximizing the afternoon with all the points available to you.
Absolutely, man. That was the point. Just try to get as much as we could. I thought I was going to be screwed going into that second stage because I didn't pit. I stayed it out. And I knew some of the other guys had pit. And so I didn't know if I was going to have enough fuel, and I definitely wasn't. So I'm glad that one caution came out. It definitely helped me out because I probably wasn't going to get any points whatsoever in that second stage. But it definitely worked out. Man, that was a blast. I don't know what else to say, man. It was a great race to win. I love it. It's probably my favorite track just in general. I love going to this track in real life, so to win it on here, it makes it better. Thanks to my teammates, even my former teammates, Landon and Dylan, they worked with me. So I think it helped to be the nice guy of the league. I think everybody was working with me tonight. Even Danny White, everybody was pushing me. So shout outs to everybody that helped me tonight, man. There was a lot of them.
Absolutely, man. It takes a lot out there, and it takes being that nice guy or having some friends there late in the race is not always, your teammates are going to be on your back bumper or able to help you out late in these races. And here tonight, you're able to find some new friends and being able to get those late race pushes where they could have left you high and dry and left you out there and kept you back. But not tonight, man. You're able to find all the right dancing partners, and they help you up here into victory lane as you park that 11 ride down here in victory lane at Talladega, man. Who'd you like to thank for such a great run and great race here as our final regular season race winner?
Yeah, I got to thank everybody that watched it, on YouTube and the broadcast, and I appreciate everybody watching, and just, thank you for putting on the broadcast, and thank you to everybody that shows up, week in, week out. There's a great league. There's definitely some things we need to clean up though in the early stages, like the other race, because some of the early cautions are just silly, but it's super speedway. People are going to be aggressive, so it's going to happen. But I want to shout out Brian, Josh for putting on the league. This is a great league. And shout out my teammates, man. Brian, Grant, and Aiden. They're just the best in the business, man. And it's just a great team to be on. I think now we just got to get Brian a win. And I think that would complete everybody getting a win this year.
Absolutely.
On the team. So yeah, man, it'll be exciting.
Absolutely. Well, for Brian Underwood, I know he definitely wants to get a win now as playoffs getting started next Saturday night. And for the Redemption Motorsports crew, I mean, you guys have been, pretty much the class of the field here, pretty much every one of these races over the, the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. And here you are, all 4 of you is locked into the playoffs. What's kind of going through your mind knowing that you and your teammates get to duke it out not only with 8 other amazing drivers, but also amongst yourselves to try to race and battle for that championship?
I definitely think we're going to help each other, up till hopefully we're the final 4, right? It's just us, and then we're probably be everybody for themselves at that point. But nah, man, we turn around and go right back to Daytona, so we're going to have another super speedway. So we definitely are going to have to work together on that one. It's a little bit harder to pass, at Daytona. So we definitely need to figure it out. But I think we made a lot of good friends here tonight, at Dega. So it'll be interesting. And, Daytona's pretty wild. So it'd be the first race of the playoffs. Should be interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be a little bit crazy there next Saturday night. Going from Talladega to Daytona, two super speedways back to back, sometimes can get a little frustrating, can definitely get a little bit more intense, especially now with playoffs getting started, man. There's certainly going to be a few fireworks, I'm sure, next weekend. But for you tonight, man, a lot of fireworks up there in Victory Lane as you're able to cash in and pick up the dub here this evening. Jordan, congratulations on the race win, and we can't wait to see you battling and duking it out here next Saturday for that championship.
Hey, also, I think I won the Dash for Cash as well, so I think I made like $100 or so too. So hey,
baby,
good weekend.
I heard you were splitting that with the broadcaster.
Hey, we might have to do it. All right, we'll have to figure it out.
I'm with you. All right, Jordan, enjoy the rest of your night, brother.
All right, brother, take it easy.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Jordan Hand. His Hand picks up the dub and puts himself up and into Victory Lane here this afternoon as we'll get ready to pull in our second place driver. The driver coming home there in position number 2, one spot shy, and unfortunately the first loser here this evening. It's that 79 rider, Danny White. Danny coming home in position number 2. A solid run, solid drive for him, and he was right there and so close to tasting Victory Lane here himself, but has to settle in for that second place finish to see if we can get him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey Danny, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. They get a copy.
I got you, buddy.
Danny, man, solid run, great drive for you here all night long, and late in this race you're sitting in the catbird seat, man. You had a great look and potential, best spot out there to pick up this win. All of a sudden, that number 11 Ryan gets a huge run down the back straightaway and able to clear not only you, but also that 2 rider Landon Burbage and jump down in front of you and able to throw a couple blocks and keep you guys back there at bay. And unfortunately, just kind of stalling you out there where you couldn't get that run to, try to pick up the win here this afternoon as you had to settle in for second.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Jordan, man. He ran a great race, clean race. If anybody was going to get the win over me, I'm glad it was him. Appreciate my old dog teammates. They helped me out, especially the second stage there. Got me third place stage points. But overall, I mean, we started off rough, but as the race went on, we started cleaning it up, and hope it was a pretty good finish for everybody.
Absolutely seeing that good long green flag run here late in this race, seeing things not go to a caution fest later on like we've normally seen in Talladega races as the intensity builds up and everyone trying to make those big crazy moves. Normally that's where we see some carnage and chaos out there on the racetrack late in these races, but it was non-stop, just good hard battling out there, a lot of big pushes and shoves, and somehow or another, man, you were right there and so close to finding Victory Lane. If that 11 ride didn't get any help up there on that outside lane, it could have been a drag race back to the start finish line for you in that 2 rider Landon Burbage. And by the way it played out right there, man, it could have been you up here in Victory Lane and potentially, working your way into the playoffs. I'm not sure what your playoff situation was looking like, whether or not you were racing your way in on points or if that win could have been the difference maker between being a part of the playoffs or just missing it.
The win would have sealed it. I was running 11th, I think, but I got the 2 stage points, a let a lap. So I'm going to be right on the bubble. We'll find out when they post them here, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, it should be very close, especially because I do believe that the 89 ride, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's what Josh said earlier, is that Brand Brewer was on the bubble right there, and he came home in last, so maybe enough points there on the table, enough stage points and leading that lap to potentially leapfrog you in front of that 89 right and into that 10th and final 12th and final playoff position.
Yeah, I had to be aggressive today. It had to be good points today or I was going to be out of luck. So it was super aggressive, try to stay up front, try to stay out of trouble, and ended up working out okay.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Danny, a great run, a solid performance out there for you. Oh, so close to Victory Lane here at Talladega Super Speedway. Brother, who would you like to thank for such a great run?
Oh, no, I appreciate the league. I appreciate my teammates, Farrell and Gaston. They do a great job every week. I enjoy running with them every week. I actually look forward to coming in this league and hanging out with them and making a strategy with them every week. So, yeah, man, just a fun league, fun guys to race with, and glad to put this one behind us.
Absolutely. Well, Danny, great run, great race. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Saturday as we head back to another super speedway, another opportunity for you to try to find victory lane, whether or not you're a playoff driver or not. I'm sure you're going to be looking to try to get one spot better in our next super speedway race, as Josh Crider did just come into the chat here and give us an update on our playoff drivers, and the last name on that list is yourself, brother. So it looks like you're going to be a part of the playoffs and able to compete next week as a playoff driver and trying to back up another super speedway race with maybe a big win next weekend.
Heck yeah, that made my night right there, man.
Beauty. Well, Danny, congratulations on making it into the playoffs. Congratulations on that second place finish, and we can't wait to see you battling and duking it out and seeing if you can recreate what you did here tonight and maybe one spot better.
Yes, sir. Hey, I appreciate all you do, and great job broadcasting, man. I enjoy it every week.
Absolutely, brother. No better place to be on a Saturday night than up here in the booth and watching you guys duke it out there on the racetrack. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your night, Danny, and we'll see you back out there on the racetrack in the next one.
Thank you, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Danny White, as Danny coming home there in position number 2 and just enough to be able to work himself into the playoffs here this afternoon. As Jimmy Six Times there, Josh Crider says that these are the drivers that made our playoffs here this season. Josh Crider, Farrell Robbins, Aiden Lucas, Grant Applegate, Landon Burbage, Jordan Hand, our race winner here tonight, Brian Underwood, Dylan Carrier, Noah Blackwell, Ben Gleason, and Danny White are our 12 drivers that are going to duke it out here this afternoon. And Jonathan Gasson as well. Is that what I'm reading there? And Gasson as well. So 12 drivers in our playoffs here this evening, getting ready to duke it out here for the playoffs here this year, man. That's going to be crazy, as Heyitskevcustoms missed the playoff by one spot. One spot. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is that not what we talked about earlier on this afternoon? During those stage breaks and during those, closing laps in these stages, is that each and every one of those drivers, every point is going to matter here in this race. And we've seen it time and time again where that 1 point could be the difference maker. And here tonight for our boy Ryan Haller, unfortunately missed the playoffs by 1 point here this evening. 1 point. That's one spot better in a stage break. One spot better there late in this race. Could have been the difference maker between being in the playoffs and unfortunately on the outside looking in. That's a hard one right there, especially as Ryan Haller pushed Danny White into that second spot and virtually gave Danny White that final playoff spot. If he would have just maybe moved around him and left that 79 high and dry, he potentially could have put himself into the playoffs instead of Danny. But that's a tough one right there. So we'll get ready to pull in our third place finisher now, our third place driver, Landon Burbage. Burbage sitting down pit side. Let's pull him up here into the booth. Hey Landon, it's Aaron up here on the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Data copy?
Got a copy.
Landon, man, strong run, strong race for you again here this afternoon, man. But unfortunately, late in this one, just a couple different moves, a couple different lanes that kind of got shuffled around. We saw you lose your teammate there, Matthew Wood, for a couple of those laps, and they were kind of stuck in the middle right there. And all of a sudden, Jordan Hand comes up on the outside lane, able to take that big run, jumps down in front of you and that 79 right at Danny White, and just really throws a couple blocks there, keeping you guys back there at bay, killing your momentum and not allowing you guys to find your way around him here late in this race on that final lap, as he had to settle in for a tight finish down across the line, 3 wide, and able to come home still in position number 3.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I knew when Jordan cut across down, I was like, man, he's just gonna keep blocking. But I knew I still had some hope because Conley was still behind me. He was pushing me pretty good, and he wasn't able to push me enough because he got hot once he was behind Dylan earlier, and then he got behind me, and then he was just too hot to start pushing me. And then I was going to go outside, but I figured Jordan was going to block it, so I just stayed in and just wanted the podium. So it was all in all, it was a good race tonight. I mean, I got some points. I was just trying to set myself up for a good playoff run because I'm going to miss the next race due to prom. But then hopefully those next 2 races after that, I'll be able to pick up a win or two and lock myself into the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be an uphill battle for you, but luckily enough, next week it's a bit of another wild card like we saw here tonight, another super speedway. So, it could be a big make or break area for a lot of those drivers. And with yourself not being included in the race, for some of them maybe having some issues, maybe still seeing, 3 or 4 of those drivers that are in our playoffs not get great finishes, could definitely keep you kind of right there in that hunt for that next round of our playoffs here this year.
Yeah, I unfortunately I got some good bonus points, so hopefully those will help me out there with not losing that many spots. But yeah, man, it was a good race tonight. I'm glad we kind of got it together there at the end and had a green flag run. And yep, otherwise I wouldn't be in the 3rd place position. But thanks to my teammate Matthew and Scott and all them and everybody for putting on a good show tonight.
Absolutely. Some great racing, some great action there, especially, a little bit of carnage early on, but some good green flag racing there late in this one, and some great battles there, 3 wide late in this race, duking it out for the win here in this one. Lanny, come home in 2nd. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank for such a great run and strong drive here this evening in our regular season finale?
Yeah, just first I want to thank my dad, my mom, my girlfriend Lacey, and her dad as well. And I know he sometimes he's able to watch, sometimes he's not because he goes to bed early. But my teammates, Noah for making the paint. Yeah, man.
Beauty. Well, Landon, great run, great drive here this evening, brother. We look forward to seeing you back out there in a couple weeks and hopefully see you trying to earn those points and work yourself into that 2nd round of the playoffs here this year. But it's going to be tough for you. We're going to be cheering you on and see if you can maybe pick up a big win and just lock your way right on into the round number 2.
Yeah, man, I'm going to try. But Daytona Road is one of my good tracks, too, and Legacy Atlanta as well. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to it. Landon, enjoy your prom, enjoy your weekend off from the racing action, and we'll see you back out there in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Landon Burbage. Is Landon coming home there in position number 3, a solid run and a solid drive there for that number 2 run. Unfortunately, coming up a couple spots shy of victory lane, but able to put himself inside the podium here this afternoon and try to work himself into, maybe some extra bonus points to help him there. Obviously missing next week's race to prom, which makes me feel old. My prom was like 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Prom was a long time ago. I haven't thought of prom in a long time, but for Landon, he's got that on his mind. Hopefully he has a good prom next Saturday, and hopefully we'll see him, be able to make a charge and maybe try to make things a little spicy there in our final couple races of round number 1 here in our premium stock car racing playoffs. As those playoffs will get started here next Saturday, we'll look forward to seeing each and every one of these drivers back in action there next Saturday afternoon. We'll see a lot of these drivers back in action here tomorrow night in our amazing 12 for me, laugh out loud. Yeah, see, us 29, 30-year-olds, 31-year-olds, man, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, man. Jeepers creepers, prom, that was so far long ago, man. Now I feel old, man. That was a long time ago. We'll see these drivers back in, a lot of these drivers back in battle tomorrow night in our Sunday night series as well. A lot of these cats are a part of that show as well in the Wheel to Wheel Racing Club, so we're going to see them battling and racing and having some fun again here tomorrow night as well here on Peacemaker Gaming. So hopefully we'll see each and every one of you back in here to cheer these drivers on and see if they can pick up a big win or maybe just build up some more momentum towards their playoffs here in this series next weekend. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all back in the next one. If you haven't already, please make sure you guys help us out here. Drop a like on the stream right now if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that share button if you're feeling courteous. And definitely make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. And, join the always growing and always improving best broadcast in iRacing, ladies and gentlemen, here on Peacemaker Gaming. And we'll see you guys back in action here for 2 races tomorrow night. 2 amazing races here tomorrow evening. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all in the next one. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US, and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Strapped in tight, ready, V8, symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Trapped in close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lane, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound, seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponent's tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Strapping, tight, ready, V8 symphony humming. Tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising. In the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toast the champ, champagne spray. Fast lane, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathing, destiny's near. Hearts pound, seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, visor fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Television, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponent's tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lane, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathing, destiny's near.